Hey everyone, I wanted to share some thoughts that I had recently, and it's something I've thought about over the years. And, anyone who knows about early Christian history and, the persecution that, the first Christians endured, under the Roman Empire and even under like pagan nations, many people were put to death in some pretty brutal ways. And during that time, there was a lot of purity and holiness amongst the believers, amongst the followers of Christ. And, I think throughout my journey, I've been a part of a lot of circles where eschatology is a pretty big subject, and that's just basically the study of like end times prophecy and events from the scriptures. And you know, there's always a lot of warnings. It looks like real persecution could be coming to America. Maybe they'll start imprisoning us for our faith, or, violence may occur, outbreaks of violence. And, those things are possibilities, of course. But, I mean, we see it happening to our brothers and sisters over in Nigeria, other parts of Africa as well. Many Islamic nations, unfortunately, Christians suffer. The Christians right now in Palestine, and so many people suffering in Palestine. But what I wanted to talk about is, oftentimes I've seen people really trying to prepare for that type of persecution. Their mind is really captivated by political oppression and the way the world is headed, and things of that nature. And these things can be important and they can occur, but we also need to remember that this walk and this battle that we're involved in is primarily spiritual. So what I mean by this is, especially when you read the scriptures and when you read the early church's writings, the battle, when Paul talks about his battles in the faith, you don't really hear him ever, or very rarely, talking about, oh man, I had to deal with these soldiers that were just horrendous to me, or this group of people that I tried to share the gospel with, they were just terrible. Usually when he's describing his battles, it's with, pride, what he used to hold to in his excellence and zeal when it came to the Mosaic law and covenant, or warning us to battle against lust or greed. The real battle right now for each one of us that are living in a nation that isn't suffering direct, like, physical persecution. Our battle really is within ourselves, right? It's like what Jesus said about, if before you can help your brother, you need to remove the log from your own eye. And constantly, Messiah is warning us, if you so much as hate your brother in your heart, you're committing murder. If you're lusting after women, you're committing adultery. These things address the heart. And the true battle, again, like I'm reading a lot of the early Christians' writings, the ante-Nicene period, the first 300 years. And so much of the emphasis is on conquering sin within ourselves, conquering, the worldly and fleshly desires that we so want to delve into, rather than living in simplicity, humility, looking out for others, helping the poor, battling just wicked thoughts and desires, or just selfishness and laziness sometimes. So I wanted to bring that reminder. There's a quote that I heard a long time ago, and I want to say it was attributed to Richard Wurmbrand. He wrote the book Tortured for Christ. It's a phenomenal book. I highly recommend it. I won't give any spoilers, but the quote was that because Richard Wurmbrand suffered imprisonment. I guess I am giving spoilers for 14 years, two separate 7-year stints under communist rule in Romania. And the stuff he and others endured is heartbreaking. Some of it's downright repulsive, and but it's brutal. But there's this quote, and I believe it's attributed to him. But he said that when I was suffering persecution, physical persecution and attack, I saw Satan as a roaring lion. Because remember, in Peter, it tells us that your adversary, the devil, goes around like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. So his warning is to be sober-minded in this world, which is more than just abstaining from substances. It's a way at looking at life through a godly lens, basically. But the rest of the quote is, "But when I came to America, I experienced Satan as an angel of light." Now, I'm kind of paraphrasing here, and I believe it was something along the lines of, and essentially in America, it's more dangerous than the physical persecution. Because remember, the scriptures say that Satan and his followers, his minions, um, you know, they present themselves oftentimes as angels of light or workers of light, but there's deception laced within. And in a society where we're not facing death or imprisonment for our faith, it's easy for our hearts and minds to just wander into idolatry, idleness, lust, all these things. So I wanted to bring these reminders to you. So blessings, everyone. Just remember to keep your heart and mind set upon Him. If you're ever feeling confused about what His will is for you in this life, just remember one key piece of that is just simple gratitude. Just take those moments throughout the day and just give Him thanks. Give Him thanks for your health, for the people you care about, for having mercy and forgiveness on our sins and rebellion. And love you guys, and blessings.